Welcome, everyone, to Wisdom and Wealth, your sanctuary for mindful living and financial well-being. We're so glad you've joined us today. Here at Wisdom and Wealth, we cater to those in the prime of their lives, those over 40 who are looking for a deeper meaning and understanding of the world around them. The Buddha once beautifully stated, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." In our relentlessly fast-paced, hyper-connected world, silence is often tragically undervalued. We've become accustomed to sharing every detail of our lives, from our triumphs to our struggles, even half-formed thoughts, with the simple tap of a screen or a few hastily typed words. But genuine wisdom doesn't clamor for attention, it doesn't shout from the rooftops. It cultivates patience, it listens intently, and it observes with a discerning eye. It knows the profound value of waiting for the right moment, the opportune time to speak, or not to speak at all. Before we dive deeper into the wisdom of silence, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It helps us continue to bring you content that enriches your life. Not every feeling requires verbal expression, and not every moment needs to be broadcasted. There is an immense strength in quietly holding space, not out of secrecy or fear, but out of a profound sense of stillness and self-awareness. Some of life's deepest truths reveal themselves in the quietude of contemplation, and some forms of peace are attainable only through the conscious restraint of our words. This tranquil intersection of mindfulness and self-control forms the foundation of our reflection today. Inspired by the profound teachings of Buddhism, we'll delve into 6 aspects of our lives that are best kept private, not to conceal or hide, but to honor and protect. These are like gentle boundaries that serve to safeguard your personal energy, preserve your inner peace, and deepen your connection with yourself and the world around you. As you listen, I invite you to let the external noise and distractions fade into the background. Allow this to serve as a potent reminder that silence is far from being empty or void. It is, in fact, brimming with awareness, care, and an understated yet formidable power. First, let's consider your wealth and possessions. In today's society, success is often equated with material wealth and external displays of achievement. A brand new house, a luxury vehicle, an exotic vacation, these things are easily shared and often serve as benchmarks for comparison. While there is nothing inherently wrong with celebrating our hard-earned accomplishments, true and lasting contentment doesn't depend on outward displays of affluence. We are encouraged to celebrate our wins, and there's certainly no harm in feeling proud of what you've built through dedication and effort. However, when we consistently share our material gains, even with the purest intentions, we inadvertently open the door to subtle yet potentially harmful dynamics like comparison, envy, and ego. Not everyone will genuinely rejoice in your abundance. Some may compare it unfavorably to their own struggles and perceived shortcomings. Others may silently enter into a competitive mindset, constantly striving to keep up. And, perhaps most insidiously, we ourselves may begin to tie our self-worth to the things we own rather than to the intrinsic value of who we are as individuals. Before we continue, if you're finding value in this discussion, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Buddhist doctrine. The Buddha wisely taught that attachment is a primary source of suffering. This includes attachment to wealth, to social status, and to the need for external validation or recognition of what we possess. There is a quiet strength in exercising discretion and keeping certain aspects of your financial life private. You don't need to constantly prove your success to others. Let your inner peace speak volumes louder than your material possessions ever could. Let your core values, your kindness, your compassion, and your unwavering sense of stillness serve as the most authentic indicators of what you've truly earned in this life. Real and lasting success is not measured by what the world sees, but by what you feel in those moments of quiet solitude when the external noise fades away. When you live with purpose, intention, and a deep sense of inner peace, there is no longer an urgent need to display or impress. You simply live with gratitude, humility, and a grounded sense of self. Remember, true and enduring peace emanates from within. It's not something that can be acquired or found externally. So, celebrate your personal journey, your growth, and your experiences, rather than solely focusing on the material possessions you've accumulated along the way. Share your joy and accomplishments not to impress or to elicit envy, but to uplift and inspire others to pursue their own dreams. And always remember that the most beautiful and meaningful things in life are often those we hold closest to our hearts, not because they are hidden or concealed, but because they are inherently complete and fulfilling in themselves. Choose simplicity over ostentatious displays, and prioritize depth over superficial exhibition. Let your success be quiet and unassuming, and let your spirit be genuinely rich. Now, let's move on to the second area, your inner struggles. There are inevitably moments in life when the weight of our burdens feels too heavy to bear alone. In those vulnerable moments, it's natural to crave connection, to want to be seen, to be understood, and to share our fears, our sadness, and our deepest inner wounds with others. However, it's crucial to recognize that not everyone who lends an ear is truly listening with empathy and compassion. And sadly, not everyone who appears to be kind and sympathetic possesses a genuinely kind and supportive heart. When we impulsively share our struggles too readily or too quickly, we risk placing the most fragile and vulnerable parts of ourselves into hands that may not be capable of holding them with care and reverence. Some may judge, some may dismiss your feelings, and some may even carry your words away with a lack of sensitivity, ultimately causing further harm. The Buddha taught us the profound importance of practicing mindfulness, not only in our actions but also in our relationships. Discretion, in this context, becomes an act of self-compassion, a way of protecting your own well-being. It's certainly not wrong to speak openly about your pain. In fact, healing often begins with the act of voicing what has been kept silent for too long. But wisdom lies in knowing when, how, and with whom to share your deepest vulnerabilities. Before opening up to someone, ask yourself, has this person truly earned my trust? Have they consistently demonstrated genuine presence, patience, and understanding in their interactions with me? If the answer is unclear or uncertain, allow your silence to serve as a protective shield. Your vulnerabilities are not flaws or weaknesses, they are simply tender and uniquely human truths that deserve to be held with gentle care by those who have rightfully earned the privilege of witnessing them. As we approach the midpoint of our discussion, let's pause for a moment. If you're connecting with the insights we're sharing, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to Buddhist doctrine. Your engagement helps us reach a wider audience and continue providing valuable content. A quiet heart instinctively understands this principle. What is shared too freely may be easily misunderstood or trivialized, but what is held too tightly may never have the opportunity to heal and transform. The path lies in finding balance. There will be individuals who can hold a safe space for you to express yourself authentically, not to fix you, not to offer unsolicited advice, but simply to be present with you, without judgment or expectation. When you encounter these rare and precious individuals, feel free to speak openly and honestly. Until that time comes, protect the sacredness of your inner world. Remember the profound words of the Buddha, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Treat your inner landscape with that same level of respect and tenderness. Do not entrust your unhealed wounds to those who cannot offer peace, understanding, and genuine support in return. Let silence be your shield until genuine trust has been established. Only then should you open up slowly, gently, and completely. Now, let's move on to the third area, the regrets you carry. Regret is a pervasive and often silent shadow that follows many of us throughout our lives. The things we wish we hadn't said or done, the words we desperately want to take back, the paths we ultimately didn't choose to follow, these are all sources of potential regret. It's a fundamentally human experience to feel this way. However, obsessively dwelling on the past will not change it. The Buddha wisely taught, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. When we speak of our regrets too frequently or carry them too openly, they tend to become heavier and more burdensome over time. They can negatively influence how we perceive ourselves, distort our present reality, and even hinder our ability to move forward with a sense of hope and optimism. Sometimes, in our desperate need to express, explain, or justify ourselves, we unintentionally keep our old wounds alive, preventing them from fully healing. There is a significant distinction between healthy reflection and unproductive rumination. Reflection brings wisdom and valuable insights, while rumination perpetuates suffering and prevents us from letting go. Not all regrets need to be shared with others. Some are meant to be understood and processed silently, not out of shame or embarrassment, but out of a deep sense of self-care. Before sharing a regret, ask yourself, am I doing this to grow, to learn, and to heal? Or am I simply reliving a painful experience that no longer serves my well-being? Speak of your past only when it can serve to bring greater clarity and understanding to yourself or to someone else. Allow the lessons you've learned to rise above the pain that once taught them. Remember, healing doesn't always require retelling the story repeatedly. Sometimes, it simply asks you to stop replaying it in your mind. Release what was, and breathe deeply into what is. You are not the same person who made those past choices. You are the one who has lived through them, learned from them, and persevered despite them. That is a testament to your strength, resilience, and grace. Let your silence be a gentle form of self-forgiveness, not forgetting what happened, but consciously choosing to embrace inner peace. Each morning, we are born anew, given a fresh opportunity to create a more positive and meaningful life. What we choose to do today is what truly matters most. So, carry your wisdom forward, rather than your regrets. Fourth, your personal struggles with others. Every relationship, whether with a close friend, a romantic partner, or a family member, will inevitably encounter moments of tension, conflict, and misunderstanding. Miscommunications arise, words are misconstrued, and feelings get hurt. This is simply a natural part of the human experience and the inherent complexity of human connection. During these challenging times, it can feel comforting and validating to share our frustrations and grievances with someone else. We want to be heard, to be understood, and to have someone affirm our perspective by saying, "You're right. They were wrong." However, in seeking that external validation, we often inadvertently open the door to other potentially harmful dynamics, such as judgment, bias, and unnecessary drama. The Buddha wisely taught, "Speak only when your words are more beautiful than silence." When we speak carelessly and disparagingly about those with whom we're in conflict, especially to individuals who are not directly involved in the situation, we risk damaging not just one relationship but potentially many. We create an opportunity for gossip, unsolicited opinions, and lingering tension that may persist long after the initial conflict has been resolved. Often, the person with whom we're upset is someone we deeply care about. However, words spoken in anger or shared out of context can unfairly and permanently shape how others perceive that individual. Instead of broadcasting your personal struggles, choose silence when it will ultimately bring more peace and understanding to the situation. Choose discretion when it will protect what still matters most. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or holding everything inside, rather, it means being wise and discerning about who you choose to confide in, why you're sharing your struggles, and what you're hoping to gain from the interaction. Seek counsel only from those who can hold a space of compassionate understanding, not judgment or criticism. Seek guidance from those who reflect peace, not those who fuel the flames of conflict. Buddhist practice encourages us to look inward before we speak outward, to pause, breathe, and ask ourselves, is this helpful? Is this kind? Is this necessary? There is immense strength in working through your relationship struggles quietly and mindfully, not to suppress your emotions, but to protect the sanctity of the relationship itself. Sometimes, the most loving and compassionate thing we can do is to hold a space for healing and reconciliation, rather than broadcasting the details of the wound to anyone who will listen. Let your words be few, and let your actions and your presence speak more loudly. In times of conflict, cultivate stillness. In moments of anger, practice self-awareness. When faced with relationship struggles, be gentle and compassionate. And always remember that true peace begins within, not in the telling of the story, but in the deep understanding of the underlying issues. Fifth, your goals and aspirations. Each of us carries within us quiet dreams, aspirations that live deep within our hearts, nurtured by hope, vision, and unwavering determination. Whether it's starting a new business, writing a book, embarking on a career change, or simply striving to live a life that feels more aligned with our authentic selves, these goals and plans are sacred and deserve to be treated with reverence. And yet, in our enthusiasm and excitement, we often speak of them prematurely, before they have had a chance to fully develop. There is a quiet wisdom in Buddhist teachings: what is not yet ripe must be carefully protected. The Buddha taught that becoming overly attached to the future, to outcomes that have not yet manifested, can lead to unnecessary suffering. When we dwell too much on what we hope will come, we place ourselves under the heavy burden of expectation. Imagine planting a seed in the soil. You carefully water it, tend to it with love, and patiently wait for the sun to nourish it. But what if, out of impatience, you dug it up every day to show others what was growing? The delicate roots would weaken, the growth process would be disrupted, and the plant might never reach its full potential. Your goals and aspirations are just like that seed. They need protection, stillness, and silence to thrive. Let's say you've decided to embark on a creative project, perhaps launching a wellness brand rooted in the principles of mindfulness. You feel incredibly inspired and fully committed to the project. However, the moment you begin to share your idea widely with others, something subtly changes. Friends offer well-intentioned advice, family members express concerns, and strangers suggest shortcuts or alternative approaches. While some of this feedback may be helpful, much of it is simply noise that can distract and derail you from your intended path. Even the most well-meaning voices can cloud your clarity and undermine your confidence. Suddenly, what was once a clear and straightforward path becomes convoluted and tangled with doubts and second-guessing. You begin to question your choices and doubt your ability to succeed. These feelings arise not because you lack the necessary skills or talent, but because you've allowed too many external voices to intrude upon the sacred space of your creative process. Buddhism teaches us to move with intention and awareness, not for the sake of praise or external approval, but for the deep sense of inner peace that comes from living in alignment with our true purpose. When we share our aspirations prematurely, we risk inviting in distractions, comparisons, and pressures that ultimately undermine the work itself. There is a profound strength in moving quietly and deliberately toward your goals. Think of all the individuals whose success arrived not with a loud announcement but with a quiet and consistent dedication to their craft. They showed up each day, put in the necessary work, and allowed the results to unfold naturally, without forcing or manipulating the process. They didn't feel the need to constantly speak of their intentions; their actions spoke far louder than words ever could. This doesn't mean that you must necessarily journey alone. Trusted mentors, supportive loved ones, and experienced advisors can offer valuable guidance and encouragement along the way. However, the deeper truth is that your vision deserves your undivided attention and energy, not the diluted focus that results from overexposure and premature sharing. Keep your dreams where they are safest, close to your heart, rooted in mindful action, and protected by a veil of silence. Imagine an artist who works quietly in their studio for months, not seeking external validation, but simply creating with passion and devotion. When the artwork is finally revealed to the world, it carries the weight of authenticity, purpose, and unwavering commitment. It wasn't created for the sake of approval, it was created from a place of deep purpose and inner inspiration. That is the transformative power of quiet work. Direct your energy toward building and creating, rather than boasting or seeking attention. Maintain your focus on the journey itself, rather than on the fleeting applause or recognition. Allow your success to arrive as a quiet whisper, not as a boisterous declaration. The Buddha once said, "Just as a solid rock is not shaken by the storm, even so the wise are not affected by praise or blame." By holding your plans and aspirations in silence, you give them the space they need to grow strong and resilient. You protect them from premature judgment, from self-doubt, and from the ever-changing winds of public opinion. Let the quietude be your constant companion. Let the work itself be your most powerful voice. And when the time is right, what you've built will shine brightly, not because it was loudly announced, but because it was deeply lived and authentically created. Finally, your acts of kindness. In the quiet spaces of life, where no one is watching or keeping score, our truest intentions are revealed. In today's society, many acts of kindness are performed beneath a spotlight, shared on social media, and publicly praised. The world encourages recognition and rewards outward displays of generosity. It teaches us that if no one sees what we do, it may not matter or hold value. However, this is not the way of true compassion. The Buddha wisely said, "A good deed brings joy to the heart, whether seen or unseen." This is the essence of pure kindness, not to be noticed, not to be praised, but to arise naturally from the depths of one's own compassion, without a trace of ego or expectation of reward. Imagine you are walking down a quiet street and notice an elderly person struggling to carry their heavy shopping bags. You pause, walk over to them, and gently offer your assistance. They smile, expressing their gratitude. Perhaps they say thank you, or perhaps they simply nod in acknowledgement. But something within you softens and expands, not because anyone else witnessed your act of kindness, but because you did what felt right. That moment becomes complete and fulfilling in itself, needing no external validation or praise. That is the essence of real generosity. In Buddhist teachings, this form of giving is called dana, the practice of giving without attachment or expectation. It is not measured by the amount we give, but by the purity and intention of the heart behind it. When we give freely, without hoping for recognition or reward, we are not only helping others, but also freeing ourselves from the chains of ego and attachment. However, when kindness becomes a performance, a way of seeking attention or external validation, it loses its quiet beauty and transformational power. Consider the individual who donates a large sum of money to a charitable organization, but also ensures that their donation is publicly acknowledged and celebrated. While their act may still benefit others, if it is primarily driven by a need for recognition and admiration, the internal reward is weakened, and the act loses its purity. External praise may feel good in the moment, but it quickly fades away. The inner peace and joy that comes from selfless giving, however, remains long after the applause has subsided. We often forget that true acts of kindness rarely make headlines or dominate social media feeds. They often happen in whispers, in small gestures, and in moments of quiet compassion. A mother waking up early to prepare her children's meals with love and care. A friend who checks in on you when no one else remembers. A stranger who anonymously pays for someone's meal, then quietly walks away. These are acts of offering, not performances. They come from love, not from ego. And it's not just the grand gestures that count. Even the smallest act of kindness, when performed with genuine sincerity and compassion, carries great weight and has the power to transform lives. A genuine smile, a moment of patience, a gentle word offered to someone who is hurting. These may seem like simple acts, but they are seeds of peace planted in the world. When we release the need for acknowledgement, we step into a deeper state of presence and awareness. The act itself becomes the reward. The giving becomes the joy. The Buddha reminds us that clinging even to our good image is a form of suffering. Letting go of the need to be seen allows our actions to remain pure, and in that letting go, we find true freedom. So, the next time you feel the impulse to share an act of kindness, pause and ask yourself, am I sharing this to inspire others or to be admired myself? Am I giving from a place of genuine love and compassion, or from a need to be seen as a good person? There is no shame in wanting to feel appreciated for our acts of kindness. As we approach the conclusion of our discussion, I want to thank you for your dedicated participation. Your willingness to explore these deep and insightful teachings is a testament to your commitment to personal growth and mindful living. If you found this discussion to be valuable and inspiring, please consider showing your support by liking this video and subscribing to Buddhist Doctrine. Your engagement helps us continue to reach a wider audience and provide you with content that enriches your life. There is a deeper peace, however, in knowing that your kindness doesn't need to be witnessed by others to be meaningful or to make a difference in the world. Give quietly, help gently, and love without keeping score. Not every light shines brightly for others to see. Some simply brighten the space within us. Just as a flower does not discriminate among the bees that come to it, so should our kindness be, open, free, and without condition. Let your good deeds be like that flower, effortless and pure. Do good, speak gently, and walk away without looking back. Because when kindness is real, it echoes whether or not anyone hears it. In a noisy and chaotic world, silence is no longer simply the absence of sound, it is a powerful form of wisdom and a sanctuary of refuge. When you learn to hold certain aspects of your life within the protective embrace of silence, you create space for greater clarity, stillness, and truth to emerge. Speak less, listen deeply, and protect the sacredness of your inner life. Let peace be your guiding compass, and let intention be your faithful guide. May your words be few but full of meaning and purpose. Until we meet again, walk gently, live mindfully, and remember that your silence holds more power than you may realize.